We'll pull it up here in a second. I'm actually going to switch our lower right view to our North Liberty City Cam, which is showing at this moment some pretty intense winds moving through the North Liberty area. I was going to use that camera to catch a look at Interstate 380 from that perspective, but I do not have a look because the wind and rain is so strong that we just don't have an eye on it from that perspective. But you can see the flag really straining against the winds in the North Liberty area, probably some hail falling within that too. So that's why we're on air here, folks, to help keep you safe. Some pretty intense weather moving through highly populated areas, and that's why we're here. It's the severe thunderstorm warning for Benton, Iowa, Johnson, and Linn counties continues until 5:30, but again, it has been replaced in most of the Johnson County area until 6. And that's where North Liberty, Iowa City, Hills, Riverside, Lone Tree, you're all included in this, as well as West Liberty, West Branch, Rochester, and Cedar County, and points to the east from there. So that is one area we'll be watching for the particularly strong winds and particularly large hail continuing. Latest information from the National Weather Service is that the storm in Iowa, Keokuk, and Washington County has shown a little bit of weakening. We'll pan the radar off to the west there at this point. That's this warning just behind the lead storms here. And it has at least exhibited some weakening, which is good news. They're currently calling for quarter-sized hail with that storm. That warning goes until, I believe, 6:30. Let me double check that. 5:45. So that warning goes for another 20 minutes. Another warning down for the Oskaloosa area just to the north of another pretty intense storm that's moving through there. But again, you can see that picture on your lower right. North Liberty is the area, and Iowa City and Coralville and Solon that we are chiefly concerned with at this point for the potential for very strong wind gusts and large hail. Got a report from Iowa City on the southeast, just east-southeast of downtown, from a train spotter. This was from, well, they timed it about 15 minutes ago, but of some medium-sized tree limbs down. Wouldn't be surprised to see more reports like that, unfortunately, as these storms move through. They are passing west to east at about 40 miles per hour, just a little bit south of east, too. That's where we've seen these storms really get intense over the next little while. So we'll put a storm track here again, just to catch where it's headed over the next 30 to 40 minutes as it does for folks that are in its path. Solon, 5:26, so that is imminent. If you're not experiencing severe weather already, it will be soon. Oasis at 5:32, Kimberly Park at 5:42, same in West Liberty there. Rochester at about 5:49, Tipton at 5:55, Wilton heading toward the Quad Cities area near 6:01. So some very intense storms passing through. You see the North Liberty City Cam, at least visibility has gotten a little bit better, but traffic's still moving slowly on Interstate 380. I'm actually going to pull up Solon here, full screen, and see what we can see there. It doesn't look like the strongest winds have hit in Solon yet, or perhaps they have gotten a little lucky and are missing out on the worst, which would be great news, but there are still some pretty intense returns on radar yet to move into the Solon area, and those will likely be accompanied by strong winds. We'll look at the Iowa City City Cam. I'm going to pull it up here real quick. Give me a moment. Looks like the winds have calmed down a bit, at least in downtown. That's the perspective we have here, but still very heavy rain and hail possible in downtown Iowa City over the next 25 to 30 minutes with this storm as it continues sliding to the southeast. This is the first in the line of storms that may be moving through during the day today. We could see additional development later tonight off to our west that could produce additional storms sliding to the southeast. I have more details on that in your first alert forecast in a little bit, but that is what we're facing at the moment. The more intense storms of higher priority moving through Iowa City as well as North Liberty at this moment. Quarter-sized hail reported in Iowa City just moments ago from a train spotter as well. The National Weather Service still asking or still calling for the potential of golf ball-sized hail. Winds sliding to the southeast at about 70 miles per hour there, at least as a potential too. So we'll take a look at that. Some reports of power outages in the Iowa City area too. Not surprised by that with the intensity of the winds that we could be expecting out of this. So it's the Iowa City, North Liberty, Coralville area that we're seeing the most intense weather at this point. If you're traveling, I would not, for the time being, avoid traveling. If your area is to the east too, it would be a good idea to not do so for now because of the reduction in visibility we've seen with these storms and some pretty backed up highways as well on Interstate 380. Severe weather does continue. Severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until midnight tonight. So if you're in the areas shaded in pink, that threat hasn't ended, at least at this point. Like I said, it's that secondary risk of a second line of storms potentially, though this first line could use up some of the energy we have in the atmosphere, and that may give us a bit of a break for folks that have already seen storms as the hopeful outlook here at this point, but the potential is still there for some pretty intense weather as it moves through. View from our Solon City Cam, and it still shows pretty heavy rain moving in, as well as some vivid frequent lightning. We've seen that too throughout the day, very dangerous, and you want to stay inside as that happens. But overall, pretty significant weather looking ahead. We're actually going to take a brief break here from the TV9 Weather Lab. If you're in the Iowa City area, please do stay in shelter at this point. We're going to come back in just a moment with the TV9 News at 5:30 for your Sunday evening. We'll have the latest updates there too. And of course, anytime when conditions warrant, we'll provide you the latest as well. For now, I'm meteorologist Corey Thompson, the TV9 Weather Lab.